On the hour, rugbyleague.com news. Brought to you by Thomson Reuters, the global leader for news.
Coming up, Benny's Bunnies beat the Broncos with a second-half comeback inspired by Latrell Mitchell. Newcastle Knights collapse as the Gold Coast snap a 5-game losing streak. And Shaun Wane says it's up to AJ Brimson if he wants to play for the Poms in the battle for the Ashes. But first up, in the Friday night game called by the Continuous Call team, as heard around the world on rugbyleague.com, a game of two halves. South Sydney beat Brisbane 22-14. The big plays coming late in the game from superstar Rabbitoh Latrell Mitchell. Notably, a 2-point drop goal late in the game to get Souths in front. And for the record, the kick was launched almost from halfway, and then followed up by Mitchell scoring a converted try himself. At half-time at Accor Stadium, Brisbane led 14 points to 0 before Savila Havili started the comeback for the Rabbitohs with a try out of dummy half early in the second stanza. Isaiah Tass the next to score for Wayne Bennett's team, and inside the final 10, a Mitchell penalty goal made it 14 apiece. And then came that match-winning drop goal, and right at the death, Mitchell scored a try, and for good measure, he also converted to complete a stunning comeback. Repeating those numbers, Souths down by 14 points at the break, then 22 unanswered points from the Bunnies in that second period. The crowd, 13,747. That included the Prime Minister, who was there at Accor Stadium to cheer on his beloved Rabbitohs, less than a week, of course, after he had a win himself, getting back to the Lodge. Earlier, the second match of the Women in League round, an incredible comeback by the Gold Coast, snapping a 5-game losing streak. They beat the Newcastle Knights at McDonald Jones Stadium 24 points to 20, after being down 20-0 at one stage and then 20 points to 6 at half-time. The crowd, 15,193. One of the stars for the Gold Coast, former Origin player AJ Brimson, who's been cleared to play for England, whose national coach has heard from AJ's manager, but not the player himself. Shaun Wane has told Steve Mascord on game day here on rugbyleague.com that if Brimson wants to line up for the Poms against the country of his birth in the battle for the Ashes later this year, it's up to him. Staying in the UK, and more drama for financially troubled Super League team Salford. They've announced the retail shop which sells Red Devils merchandise is closing its doors on May 20. It's worth noting that Salford left it until late Thursday night to release this information on their socials. As one Salford fan said on Instagram, it's death by 1,000 cuts. And across the Pennines, Chris Chester has become the Director of Rugby at Castleford, which means Danny Wilson is the new boss in terms of the administration. And in the run-up to the Challenge Cup semi-final between Hull KR and the Catalan Dragons, double trouble for the Dragons, according to Catalan media. Sam Tompkins has been forced back to Perpignan with a knee infection, and there are major concerns over the fitness of Ben Garcia, who has a groin problem. And finally, the International Rugby League has released its annual report for 2024. It focuses on the global spread of the international game, with more senior internationals played and involving more countries than ever before in a non-World Cup year. The IRL says there was also a greater diversity, with 72 sanctioned internationals, but only half of them involved men's teams, whether it was the Kangaroos, Kiwis or Kumals, or the lesser lights such as South Africa, Kenya and the Netherlands. I'm Jason Costigan, and that's the latest in news on rugbyleague.com.